just the two of us today.
And a lot of shit.
What the fuck are we doing? What is going on here?
We're gonna talk about biohacking, one of my favorite subjects. I feel like we've done so much MMA and so much other things, and we've periodically talked about biohacking and asked individuals what they like, but this is one of my favorite subjects, obviously.
So if you had to, okay, so I was like looking up some stuff, like what exactly is biohacking? So if you had to say what it is without going into like a broad overview of like maybe a 3 or 4 sentence definition of biohacking, what would you say it is?
I would say it's trying to live as optimally as your biology will allow you to. Okay. And that means it goes into every spectrum of your life. Some people just do like nootropics. That's a very popular subject that people will do. And that's how I actually initially got into it. But then I realized there's eating and exercising and sleep and devices and books and like, you know, it's a very, very wide spectrum and very expensive. Not everything is expensive. It's interesting as I've gone through this process of like trying everything. As you see on the table, these are the things I like. Of the things that I have, there is probably 2-3 times this. And then Hannah has her things too. So
it's like that you try things and some things work for you and what some things don't.
Correct. And some things I was like, this is good for this rare occasion. I'm not going to take this all the time.
Hangovers.
There's a section for that. But like coffee and drinking stuff, that's a good place to start. So a lot of people just drink straight coffee or coffee with sugar, and they subconsciously or culturally, I don't know that they're actually already doing something that is part of biohacking. So when you put the cream inside your caffeine, it slows the caffeine drip within you. The problem is most milk is going to make you gain a lot of weight, especially if you drink it every day. Most people don't realize that. So I started experimenting with different things. There are some things that Hannah does that I don't try certain things, but a great example of something, if I start feeling sick, that I put in my coffee, it may sound weird, is mushrooms. So this is called Fresh Cap Mushrooms by Thrive. It's got reishi, changa, cordyceps, turkey tail, maitake, and lion's mane. We've tried at least 5 or 6 different brands of mushroom stuff, and they all are good. Some are too expensive, some are don't have enough mushrooms, or they have bad sourcing of where they get the mushrooms. This is the best that we've found, and it's the cheapest too. This will last 2 months, and even more if I'm not taking it. But it's just, when we went over to Europe, we put this because there's just foreign pathogens that you're just not aware of. Just exposure to a new environment, and you start feeling, you usually feel it in your glands, you just start feeling like something's coming down, but I'm fine. Like most people do that. I immediately jump like, okay, where's my mushrooms? So put my mushrooms in it, and it like goes away instantly. And it surprisingly tastes more like cocoa. Here, you can smell it. It's surprisingly like, when you smell it, you're like, oh, that's not bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe I don't know if it was this brand or something, but you've definitely had given me some inside of like my coffee or something before, and I think I thought it was cocoa.
Yeah, it tastes like cocoa, and that's the thing I love about this brand. They have other different types, but this one's really good, and it helps for cell regeneration, for concentration, energy, repairing. Like if you have any you feel sick, this is like probably better than the majority of the things on this.
Are there any benefits to putting it in coffee to anything else? Like
it's just easier.
Okay.
So like if you put it in other stuff, it'll really work. You can put it in your food, but in the high temperature. Coffee, just when you first brew it, you wouldn't want to put it in, but right afterwards you can put it in, mix it in.
But you could also like mix this in with like a smoothie or like a juice or something, right?
Yes, you could absolutely do that. I don't know how it would taste. I think like maybe peanut butter and
like a chocolate banana or something.
Chocolate banana, yeah, that
like
kind
a
of thing.
protein shake or something.
You probably would hide it pretty well.
That would probably go well with a protein shake.
It probably would. I'm sure somebody's probably done it. But that would be really good with this. You can put it pretty much in anything. You just, for certain things, you just got to watch the temperature. You just don't want it to be too high. That's why not all mushrooms are really good for you. Like portobello mushrooms are really terrible for you, apparently.
Really?
Stamets won't talk about it, but he talks about it. Paul Stamets, he's I forget what the title is, but he's basically a scientist of mushrooms. If you want to know more about mushrooms, he's definitely the guy to go to. But yeah, so this is really good. I put this in my coffee. Another thing we do, I didn't bring it out, but it's butter. We do grass-fed butter. We use Kerrygold. That's the brand we use, and we get unsalted. We put a little bit in our coffee. It's a bulletproof, basically.
Yeah.
We do. Dave Asprey really talks about if you're more interested in like bulletproof coffee and what it all can do. Dave Asprey has a lot of information on that. But it's becoming more popular, and surprisingly, it does taste different than just regular coffee. You'd be surprised, but
that's actually what I do. Like
do you do both?
Not every day. If I've woken up with enough time to do it, like I do the butter, coconut oil, I do the full fat cream, the heavy cream, and then just the coffee.
Yeah.
And then I usually do a couple drops of stevia in there.
Yeah, that's really good. That's an awesome example. So what a lot of those things are doing are slowing down it's basically giving you a IV drip of caffeine.
So instead of getting like old jolty like real quick.
Correct. Correct. But it also fills you up. A lot of people will use it. The misconception is that you can take it and intermittent fast, doing the fats. It's not true.
Yeah.
There's too much calories. Usually they say anything for intermittent fasting is something else I do. I drink General black coffee in the morning. This is why I don't take this as much anymore. If I start feeling sick, I'll do a bulletproof coffee in the morning. But anything over 50 calories, or is it 5 calories? It's 5 something, I forget. They count it as you're no longer in fasting mode.
I think you're right, it's 5 calories.
5? Okay.
Yeah.
But another nice hack that Hannah's brother told us about, see if I can, these things are kind of caked in there. But these are cocoa nibs, or not cocoa nibs, these are cacao butter.
Okay.
Smell that, don't eat it. I made the mistake. It
smells great.
It smells great. And Hannah's brother handed this to me, and I was like, oh, it's candy. So I bit into it, and he's like, what are you doing? So, cocoa butter.
Chalky as fuck, huh?
No, it wasn't. It's soft. It's like, it's got a similar texture as like butter, but it doesn't, it's more, like once you start chewing into it, it's kind of almost a waxy, but once you put it in higher temperatures like your coffee, it produces a chemical called L-theanine. L-theanine is an awesome chemical. If you see it you usually see it in like energy drinks and things like that. But what it does is it's even better than the butter for leveling out. You can drink 1 standard cup of coffee and have it last till 2 p.m. depending on your biochemistry, like 2-3 p.m.
Oh, just like the caffeine that you...
Yeah, and you buy these at Sprouts or Trader Joe's or things like that. They're not expensive. You just drop 2 of these guys in with your bulletproof butter, and it is... If you can get straight L-theanine, it's a little bit more expensive if you don't want to do the bulletproof thing. But L-theanine, if you drink coffee, is like almost a must because you'll give it like 2 or 3 days, and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I'm not crashing as hard as I used to. So you still have a crash because it's coffee, but that stuff's awesome. Hannah, actually, I introduced her to this. This is matcha. One of my favorite supplements when you're trying to lose weight or concentration or energy is green tea extract. This is even better than green tea extract. And she'll make her bulletproof coffee out of matcha. She actually swapped out coffee. She has 1 day a week that she'll drink coffee, but she'll actually do matcha instead of coffee, and this stuff is phenomenal. Yeah. You have to blend it. There's like a ceremonial way that you mix it up, and you use like this don't do that. Just put it in a blender.
Yeah, I did it with I'll try to do it with a spoon, and I'm like, I get frustrated. I'm like, you fucking stupid thing.
Yeah, get a little mini blender.
Yeah.
Or a big blender. Just dump it in there, and then you're
smart.
good. This stuff is cool. I really like this stuff.
Yes, I remember
Yeah.
the first time I had this yerba mate, and I was like super stoked because I was like running off of energy drinks, like pretty much primarily, and I was trying to get a little bit more healthy. I was training more, and we used to have a Fresh and Easy buys when those were still around, and they have them in the cans, and they got a lot of added sugar in the cans and stuff like that, but it was still like I had it. And it's just a way cleaner energy. And then I started getting the yerba mate teas and then brewing it myself and taking a lot of shits. And
so there are, like you actually described all 3 different levels of yerba mate. So yerba mate has 3 different levels. You can do like a light a dose, and it is equivalent to green tea, right? But it's a more level kind of high.
Yeah.
Then you do the regular teas, you get a bit more of a buzz, but you're still not getting its full effects. Doing the loose leaf and using this. So I have a short cup, and it's this funky looking straw you can get on Amazon. They're like $5 or $2. They're cheap. You pour the loose leaf in, probably about here. Then you pour your hot water in. I put a little brown sugar, or not brown sugar, coconut sugar in it because it's a bit bitter for me. And then you let it sit for a minute, and then you fill the rest up with more water till it gets to this top. I learned this from Tim Ferriss. Doing it like that, and then you can drink that same cup with that loose leaf for 6 hours, and you just pour a little bit more hot water in it. What it does when it's heated up and then cooled and then kept at like an even temperature, new chemicals come out of it. I don't remember all the names of them, but you will never concentrate. Like there are some, we'll get into the nootropics, but parazitams, they're good, but there is no cleaner, less addicting energy buzz, and you feel even, and you know that feeling when you get in the zone where you're just stuck in that zone and you're not like, nothing can pull you out of it. That's what it's like when you drink it like this, but it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
It's not like something you take into your car and drive to your work, right? You have to be sitting down somewhere. And then when you're drinking out of a straw at work and you're sitting around your coworkers, they all look at you like you're an idiot.
Yeah, straw like that.
Yep. So it's a little weird, but doing it like this, if you give it a try, you have some homework to do, or you have some, some thing that you've been pushing off, and you just have to get the shit done. Yeah. Do it like this, and you will thank me. This shit is awesome.
Yeah. Better or worse than what is it that they take? Ritalin, not Ritalin. What is it called? It's like speed, but college kids take it.
You're talking about you're not Ritalin, Adderall.
Adderall. Better or worse than Adderall?
1,000,000 times better than Adderall.
Really?
The reason why is you will not get the same high. I have had Adderall.
I was sure you had. That's why I asked.
Adderall, your thoughts aren't cohesive. You can zone in on a subject, right? But unless you've tried Adderall and you've experimented with it and you know how to like set the scene and stuff like that, when you take Adderall, you're going to be like, you'll zone in for a second on something and get a shit ton of work. Yeah. Yes, but you're I don't know what it is, but your ability to pull yourself back and like refocus in on something is just not there on Adderall. Yeah. If you've used Adderall a lot, I'm sure I'm going to get people who are adamant on Adderall. Biggest problem I see with Adderall is the addictive properties. Yeah. I'm very conscious because certain things can get very addicting, and I'll state them. Obviously, coffee and things like that. Matcha's not surprising to addicting. Mushrooms are not addicting. But for Adderall, it is incredibly addicting. Yerba mate is not. Yeah. It's just, it does have caffeine, so you're gonna get, if you're already addicted to caffeine, no change. You're still addicted to caffeine.
It's the patch for coffee.
But So because of that factor, and because it does a very similar mental side effect, I think drinking it like this is better. Now I've done those like cans, and they feel good.
Yeah.
But it's like drinking a green tea. You know, it's like a fresh green tea that was just brewed. It's like that. So it's good if you want to try it. I just don't think it has it.
So this is a lot stronger. You're saying you feel a lot more effective.
It's a lot more bitter too. Like you have to go into it knowing that you're drinking it for a purpose. You're not drinking it because it's, yeah, you can open it if you want to
I'm
smell
just
it.
like 150 servings.
Yeah, it's a lot. That lasts me, I'll buy a bag and they'll last me, I buy like 2 or 3 bags a year and that's all I need. It's not my morning go-to drink. It's when I have shit I gotta get done.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about.
So
go ahead.
I know you had a lot of shit to get through here, but
We got time.
for me, and I think I don't know if I know you got a plan, but I don't know. I want to talk about the more the like philosophy behind doing it as well.
Yeah.
For me, a lot of things that I try, the difference is so small that it's not worth it to me. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that I know that I've had, and I can't. So even like microdosing mushrooms was really hard for me to really feel that difference. LSD was different. I felt that. I felt it changed my mood. But what is it just for certain people, not for certain people? Like certain things, you just got to find everything the things that work for you, and you keep those. Or
that brings up a really good point. I'm a big believer that modern day medicine and testing is for the average, not for the individual. Your biochemistry is very, very different. We'll get into pracetams in a second, but there are certain nootropics and other supplements that will not work for you. They just won't work for you. And what's the one by on it? The really popular.
The Alpha Brain?
Alpha Brain. It doesn't work for everybody.
It doesn't work for me.
Yeah, it works wonderfully for me.
Yeah.
But Hannah, her brother, it doesn't do shit. So some of it is experimentation. I always look at the risk. I always look at the addictive properties. I've gotten addicted to some things that I've had to wean myself off. Stop smirking.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Some things are wonderful. And you just get addicted, that it's just, it creates a problem. I've come to the realization that certain things, if they provide enough benefit, coffee being a great example, right? Most people are addicted to coffee. Most people are, exactly. Most people are okay with being addicted to coffee. How many people go through a fast to get unaddicted so that they can reset their balance?
Yeah.
It's not many. I mean, they do it. It's becoming more popular, but not many people do it, right? So, but you're okay with it, There are a lot of things that people try and do that they get normally addicted to that they're okay with it. Yeah. I look at a lot of the things similar to that. If it doesn't have any downsides of like liver damage, damaging neurons, muscular dystrophy, things like that. If it doesn't have like a dramatic damage to my biology, and I really like what it does for me, I'm okay with it. That's not exactly a great or a biohacker philosophy.
Yeah.
But most biohackers do not think like that. They're like, you're addicted, time to go on a cleanse. And I'm not the strictest biohacker. I'm like an intermediate level, I guess you would say.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. Some of the guys I've met, they're not many of us in general. Most people do things that are biohacking that they don't realize they're doing as biohacking. Like eating a good diet. Eating a good diet, like a well-balanced meal, not eating too many sugars, things like that. That's biohacking. Your brain is telling you, I want more of that, and you're saying, no, it's not good for us. I'm going to choose that we do less of it. That's the simplest form of biohacking, right?
So, because you're talking about people's biology and how they're different, and medicine, how it kind of just tailors to the average. Would you say that also there's probably some things with like modern day medicine, how they tailor to the average, where certain people's not their biology, but their lifestyle means that they don't need certain things that people that
Yeah.
they give out. And I think that maybe it goes the same way with certain like these. Maybe because like I said, I've tried certain things and I didn't see a difference, and maybe it's things that I wasn't deficient in. You know, so like those hacks or those biohacks aren't really going to help out.
Yeah. So there's a couple things I still haven't done yet that I are really important. There is the gut test. There's a test you can take that'll tell you about your gut biome and tell you what foods and parasites and things are going on. There's a mini world going on in your stomach, and that changes a lot.
That's a cool one.
The next one is applying your DNA test. I've already done the 23andMe test. I've seen the Ancestry.com one. It's good. You did that one, right?
Yeah, I didn't see an option for that. That's what kind of bummed me out about it.
Yeah, the health one.
Yeah.
That's where 23andMe I think stands out, is they have a little bit more health related, but there's a more advanced one where you can submit your findings from 23andMe that will tell you chemical breakdowns of what's good for your body or not. There's certain chemicals that they've found will kill a patient, but another patient it will cure them. And there's many different chemicals that are like that. Insulin's a great example, right? Insulin's not great for everybody, you know, but a diabetic at the right time, perfect. So all our biology is different, and unless you know your biology, that's why I look at the risk, is because I haven't done some of the tests to go for individual compounds.
And I'm sure there are certain things. It's good that you mentioned the risk, and because it's not something I probably would have thought of, but I'm sure there are things that people who will get really serious about biohacking, that it really comes down to the dose, because like if you play with the dose too much, there's probably things that can be pretty bad for your health if you take too much of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of it, it's interesting. It's the right dose for your body weight, right? I feel like I keep coming back to parazotams. We should talk about this next. Yeah. But parazotam there's like a ton of different, the TAM family, I'll call them. They have so many different ones that work for everybody's different biology. So when you take it, it could do nothing, or it could mess you up, or it could make you feel awesome. But in the same sense, the small dose versus a large dose could change it as well.
Yeah.
Think about psychedelics.
What is it?
I'll get to it in a second, but think psychedelics, right? You take a microdose, you're like, oh, okay, I feel good. Like, like my mood is increased. I can think a little bit clearer, a little bit more energetic. Life is happy. I'm excited. You take, 100 of those same doses, and you're all of a sudden like, oh, you're in a different land. And then you take another 100 or 200 past that point, and then you're seeing aliens and God and walls moving. So I'm probably messing up my dosages, but you get the point. So it's I think there's a common misconception in America, and I see this a lot with coffee: more is better. And there's certain chemicals and plants and things that have been on this planet for a long time that want to create addictive properties that make us eat them or want them more. Their job is to spread, and one of the purposes, animals and humans like me more, I'm gonna grow more. So they evolve towards that. So some of these things that have amazing properties for us can also be incredibly addicting. And your individual biochemistry plays into that too, because there's dyssynovian, there's Neanderthal, and then there's sapien blood within all of us, as well as our different family trees. That's even more complicated than those. So you get into that big old mess, and it's like, hey, here's a pill. This will be perfect for you. No, it won't. Unless you do individual research, you won't know. Like a great example I see people do as well is vitamin D. Taking it in a pill form is awesome for your hormones, right? It can balance you out. But if you already have enough, or let's say you have an extra condition where you're not absorbing vitamin D through sunlight automatically, people who have more melanin in their skins don't absorb as much vitamin D. People with more lighter skin tones are able to absorb more vitamin D. But that comes with a trade-off, right? So if you start taking vitamin D and you haven't done a blood test to find out where I highly recommend people take a full blood test. If you're looking to do any of this stuff, just start off with that. I'll get into blood tests in a second. Man, there's a lot. You're going to jack yourself up. It's not good for you. When taking too much excess for one thing, being addicted to coffee and drinking,
more.
More is not good for your biology. It's going to jack your sleep cycle up, which is going to make you tired the next morning, which means you have to drink more coffee, which...
You're playing catch up.
You're
constantly doing a yo-yo thing.
Correct. But coffee is a great example of this category too, because a little bit of coffee, they found out, people who drink up to 6 cups of coffee a day, I forget the name of the article, it was a research study done, up to 6 cups of coffee a day actually have a lower risk of heart disease.
Really?
Yeah, but people who drink 1 have a higher risk. But people who drink more than 6 have just a stupid amount. Like the other two don't even count. So it's like that balance.
That's weird.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's very interesting for the difference, but we're all individuals. You have to try certain things, research it. The supplement and pharmaceutical industry wants nothing more than you to buy their products over and over and over and over and over again. Luckily, the supplement companies have a little bit more interest in the well-being of their customers than pharmaceutical generally does.
Yeah.
I'm strictly speaking about their practices, not necessarily the individuals. But yeah, so.
And at what point? It seems like it would be really important to really keep an eye on all the things and like know when, kind of, I guess when you've created a tolerance to kind of like back off, take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit, or just be careful not to up the dosage so much on a lot of these things. Like what would you tell somebody who's like worried about that? Like what kind of pointers would you give them for that?
Listen to your body. That's the best example, and the regular blood tests. If you're thinking about going down this arena, there's certain things on this table, like the coffee stuff that we're talking about, some of the hormone stuff, some of the drinking stuff.
I think I recognize this one.
Yeah, it's exactly what you think that is. Bye guys, end of the podcast. That you can take safely, and there's zero to little harm to your body as a whole. It's just time proven and used a lot. Getting into this is Himalayan sea salt and lime. You do lemon, right?
Yeah, I do lemon, yeah.
So that you put these two together in water in the morning, and it is an awesome electrolyte. It will, I don't have to tell you this. We both learned this from Aubrey Marcus's book.
Yeah. On the day.
On the day. Yeah. It creates electrolytes. It's the purest and simplest form to create electrolytes and hydrate your body in the morning. And I don't think I go a single day. I might when I travel, because it's a little harder to get to order limes and bring limes with you.
Yeah.
But generally, I don't think I go a single day without doing it.
Yeah, it's something that as far as all this stuff goes, like I know, like a lot of things are like very small differences that I feel. That's been the thing that for myself and Vanessa, like she just told me the other day, she's like, at my day, it's just way different when I have the water. Like it just starts it off way different because you just feel, because I think a lot of people don't know that, like how much water you lose in your sleep, like through sweat and everything. And when you wake up, and especially a lot of people who drink coffee don't understand that coffee dehydrates you, and they go straight to having coffee without drinking water. And then it's, again, like you said, you're starting the day off on the wrong foot. And that is like a huge game changer to me. Like I said, I drink that, then my coffee, then drink water with my coffee as I'm drinking it, because it just eliminates those jitters and shit you get.
We'll do another little, since we're on the water subject. So this is trace minerals. Something we started to do is eliminate hormone disruptors in the home. There are a lot of there's a lot of areas from this environment, especially if you live near ag, which we do. There's so much chemicals and pesticides and plastics and things that are in the environment that get that seep into the water, your water system, the water table, and gets recycled. And our recycled systems either put more chemicals in it to kill those, or doesn't remove all of them, and that comes through your tap water, and that's the thing most of us drink. So what we did is we put a reverse osmosis. It basically looks like a scuba diving tank. Put it under a sink. We'll do a little video. That might be fun. Do a little video and post it later. But it basically purifies your water almost perfectly. I think the whole system cost us $200-ish. You can get it cheaper, I think. I think you can get it for like $150, a really cheaper one. But even the Brita filters, you're pouring it into more plastic, right? You pour the water and then it drops into more plastic. And then we were like, oh, well, maybe we'll do the glass bottles with the charcoal in it, and that doesn't quite do everything. We're like, this is frustrating. And we talked to Hannah's brother again, and he was like, just an RO machine. He showed me his. He has like an industrial grade one. It's ridiculous.
You know who of all people has that? Is James has that.
Oh, really?
His parents have that. It's kind of like, I was like, of all people, like his parents, like, you guys have what? And they have it like set up to where it's just like it's already, it's like a faucet, like next to the thing, and it comes out.
So there's an extra tank that we don't have, that it basically compresses it. So anytime you need it, you can just turn it on and you get that water. We put a little tank, like one of those old Culligan things, and we fill that up and then just use that. So it's a little annoying, but if you have the extra money, you can do the tank. But because it's stripping the water of everything, there's no minerals. There's no, when you drink straight water from a fresh, clean stream, there's minerals and things in the water that are good for us that we need. So you have to put your trace minerals back in. So this, we just put a little 2 droppers of this in our big 5-gallon. I think it's a 5-gallon. It's got magnesium, chloride, sodium potassiate, sulfate, lithium, and boron, and it's all the right doses, diluted. So this, when I mixed with the water, I noticed dramatic changes in my blood test for my hormones. I had an issue with that, so did Hannah.
So that's pretty much. With like after it goes to the reverse osmosis tank, when it comes out, it's pretty much like distilled water, huh? Like it doesn't have anything in it, and then you're just adding you're reintroducing the minerals into it.
Correct. And we started doing the math on how much those Brita filter things were costing us, plus the extra plastic waste in the environment, just recycling the plastic back in. We were like, it's honestly a little bit cheaper just to do it up front.
Yeah.
Do this filter. We very rarely need to change the filter because of how much we use it, and it's about even. It's a little more upfront cost, but
I'm sure especially if you own a home, there's a big incentive to do that because you're going to be in that place for a long time.
They have transportable ones that you buy for if you have an apartment that you don't want to put one in yourself. But honestly, your landlord will never even know if you put it in.
Yeah.
So you put it in, you drill a little hole into the bottom of the sink. When you're done, you can get a little plug and just plug it back up. It's no big deal.
And I was just saying, not even that, I'm just saying as far as like convenience, like having to move it and install it and
if you're moving a lot,
Yeah,
for sure.
I could just imagine. I'm just saying, like if you were to buy a place, I mean, you never buy a place, fucking get the RO machine, get some solar panels. You know what I mean? Like fucking lock it down, dude, for right at the beginning.
All right, what section you want to go to now? You want to talk about okay.
What else do we got?
Okay, so we're going into the nootropic section. So this is...
I take this too, that's cool.
This is for mental function. Probably one of my most important factors for biohacking is my mental state.
And I think that's a big one for a lot of people too. That's a lot of people are trying to, you see so popular like meditation and all those types of things, and just about centering the mind. And
meditation is an awesome example of biohacking.
Yeah. And there's just, so I think these things will be big things for a lot of people, especially with all the mental issues that we're all dealing with. These will probably be some really good things for people to learn about.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about the one you want to talk about. So this is LSD. So it's very illegal.
Sorry, YouTube.
Yeah, may not put this on YouTube now I think about it. Whoops.
It's DSL.
DSL. And you dilute it in alcohol. You can do distilled water. But the first time I tried this, it was a game changer. It's because it's very difficult to come by. I'm very particular on who I talk to and how I receive it. But and you've tried it as well. When you microdose it versus taking a large dose, you tell your experiences rather than me talk about it.
Well, I've never had a large dose. So
you just had a microdose, right?
I only had a microdose, yeah. I know. And then with the microdose, dude, yeah, like it didn't make me like, it wasn't what I expected because I never had LSD. So I was like, I wonder what this is gonna be like. Here we go, But it was like, it just gave me, it like lifted clouds is what it felt like. It just like lifted the clouds, whatever I had, and like it was like I told you, there was people that in my like students that I had that I didn't particularly like, and they were in my class every day, and I was always like dreading them, like fuck, like so and so is gonna be there today, and I would be like looking for that car to pull up, and I'm like fuck, they're here, and then like when I had that, it's like you said, it would last like 3 days, right? It was like
it's a 3-day cycle.
Okay.
So you don't want to take it every single day.
Yeah.
What you're supposed to do is take it the first day. You'll feel the greatest effects that day. The next day will be the most even effects. So the really wonderful day is the next day.
That was the day that he came in. I was like, oh, he's not so. I was like just talking shit to him, and I was like, he's not so bad. And then it was like weird. It just like snapped it. Like, I like him now.
Yeah. The biggest thing about this is it can get you out of old mind states, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, somebody who's really annoying. You have these hardwired things in your brain, and your emotional side of your brain is not exactly always connected. So you're finding new pathways to be able to enjoy somebody's company or an experience or your life or things like that. A small microdose of this can really alter that in a really good way. And yeah, it's awesome. It's wonderful. But the reason why they do 3-day cycles is the third day you're technically off of it. So it's a 3-day, and then the 4th day you can take it again if you want to. I do not use it. It's very rare, very, very, very rare that I use this.
Yeah.
A very big presentation. Like I would go to this before I would go to this.
Yeah. I think it's worth mentioning that's probably like the way that you feel taking that in like the heightened state that you get into, it's probably kind of a dangerous place to live at. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to stay there for your whole life,
right?
And like at some point something's got to give, and when that does give, it goes pretty hard. And I just think that's worth mentioning because I think a lot of us try to chase that. We try to chase that for as like where we should be at all times. And I don't think that's sustainable, and I think it's just worth being able to acknowledge that it's not sustainable to live. That you should like take it as it comes, and something like that, do it very sparingly and very choosingly of when you feel you need it most. Like if you're really down, or you like you said you have a presentation or something.
Yeah, the thing with this is it's because it's in an alcohol format. It's very measured. If you were to do mushrooms, which I know some people do, problem is every single strain of mushroom, every single individual spore has different amounts of psilocybin in it. This is perfectly measured every single time, but it doesn't have any addictive properties except for psychological. There are people who live every single day trying to chase that high and trying to be like that. And they even recommend when if you're a microdoser, the biggest thing that I've seen for microdosing, the benefit of it is people with depression. You have to be careful if you have certain mental disorders, that not to take it too frequently or to take it at all in some instances. But generally for the majority of the public, there is zero downsides to this, taking it in this format. And no one will ever know when I take it, whether I'm taking it or not. So I will know, and they'll be like, "Wow, you're really on today. Oh, you're really happy." Like,
Yeah.
you probably know.
Yeah.
Now you're like,
Yeah.
I wonder. But
What would you say the last time was that you had
this?
Yeah.
15 minutes ago.
Really?
I figured why not? We're talking about it. I wonder if anybody noticed pre-hand. That'll be interesting to find out. Yeah, I think the last time before that was...
Joke's on you, this has been longer than 15 minutes.
Okay. Okay, maybe like 25 minutes then. The last time before that, 4, 5 months?
Yeah.
Maybe longer than that. It's pretty rare.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, cool.
So other nootropics. So let's go down the rabbit hole of from extreme to more common. So this is legal. Everything else on the table is super legal. Well, maybe not this, but we'll get to that. Not in every instance. So this is the phenylpiracetam. The piracetam family. There's a lot of them. Aniracetam is the one that Dave Asprey recommends for the majority of people. This is phenylpiracetam. It tastes disgusting. This is the nastiest shit on the fucking planet. But
Sorry.
what does he do? What are you doing?
Sorry, I'm just nothing. Don't look at me. I'm trying to see what the time is on there.
The time is 41 minutes in. This is, it'll give you an incredible buzz. This is the normal dose they recommend. I don't know how many grams it is, but I found out that it was just way too much. I also started getting addicted and getting jittery from it. But when I did take it, most of the piracetam family will give you like this super boost. It'll be closer to Adderall.
Okay.
But it's legal.
So that's what. So when you take that, you're looking to help you with something for like focus and motivation,
Correct.
and to get like productivity.
Yeah, it's very, very, very rare that I'll take this. Probably more than anything else on the table, just because the taste. I really don't like the taste. You put it in some water.
Juice isn't worth the squeeze.
No. I would I'd rather go back to the yerba mate. But it is really good. It's just something to be aware of. The piracetam family has a lot of benefits. You can take it in pill form, which I highly recommend. It's whatever. I do like it. It's just because of the taste. I just use it so rarely.
Yeah.
Working down, ubiquinol and creatine. So creatine monohydrate.
Okay.
So you take these two together. You don't want to take ubiquinol on its own. It's basically reduced CoQ10. Which a lot of people who have heart issues will take. It's really good for the heart health. But ubiquinol is the reduced form of that, and it is. This is something that I take every single day. This is ubiquinol by itself can cause adrenal fatigue, and that's why you take the creatine. They balance each other out. But creatine is a nootropic as well. Most people think of it as a workout, but as a monohydrate, it's an awesome nootropic. You'll see a lot of when they say creatine on like an energy bottle, it'll probably monohydrate. Probably be what it will be. But these two work really well together. A nice even. It probably lasts until like 4 p.m. Where I really notice that it's just continuing to feel it. And it's just a nice little energy focus, right? I highly recommend this to everybody. Very little downsides. If you start feeling more tired, like in shorter periods of time, ease off for it for a week or a month or whatever you feel like doing, and then jump back on, and you'll be just fine. I really like these. Oh, and I want to state very clearly, I'm not a doctor. So if you have any concerns or any ideas about this, consult your doctor beforehand.
Probably should have been said at the beginning, but
That
it's okay.
should have been said at the beginning. I'm not a doctor.
Okay, so I take this.
Yeah.
And I, I'm not sure of everything. I just know that this is one of the few things, like when it came to, like when I found out that the multivitamins were not good, this is one of the few things that I found that were still good. And it's good for energy, make you feel good. So what?
The B complex.
Yeah, just give us the run through that.
These are awesome. You also see these in energy drinks. B complexes are what gives you energy, right? And you can get a lot of it from certain food sources, but in this dose, most people are B deficient. Not most people, a good percentage of the people I encounter are B deficient. And if you want to, even more than coffee, the great thing about B is you can take it, afternoon and still it can go to sleep. You can still go to sleep. It's not going to keep you up. That's what I love about B vitamins. If I'm ever starting to drag, and I know I have a longer day ahead of me, and I'm going to be going till like midnight or whatever, I'll pop a B complex. I don't take them too often because you don't want to have too much B in your system. It's kind of an every other day if at max. Not because it's bad for you or addictive or anything else like that, but it just builds up in your system, and too much of anything in your system is just not good. Yeah. So, but B complexes are awesome. If you work out a lot or you're a larger individual, then you can take more. But that's basically it. It's good for recovery too. So B vitamins.
Cool.
That in the complex, get the complex. Don't just buy 12 or 6. Get the one that has 6, 12, 2, 3. Another good thing to recommend with it too, biotin. It's good for digestion as well, but it balances them out. It really complements them well, and it's good for your brain cells. So biotin.
Cool. Well, if you had to, because I still want to talk on the floss, but if you had to pick, because I don't want to brush through all of it, but like if you had to pick 3 big things to go through.
Oh yeah.
Which would, I mean, aside from what we've already gone through.
Right. Then I'm gonna do the ring, the Aura ring.
Okay.
Just got that. Fucking fantastic.
I know about that thing. So let's go. We'll talk.
My green drink.
Yeah.
I've talked about that in the past with that, and then TRT, and then testosterone replacement therapy. So let's talk about the ring. I'll hold it up for the camera so they can kind of see the the ring app. So you can see here, it's just got a bunch of stats: my readiness, sleep, and activity. It's got a little bit more than that, but that's just the rough outline. It is basically a Fitbit. Here, you look at it. A Fitbit on a ring. It's infrared. They've actually done clinical studies and found it's almost as accurate as
fingers me.
almost as accurate as medical devices. It tracks your mobility, it tracks your heart rate, your resting heart rate, your sleep cycles, and a bunch of other things. It's not perfect, but it's the best on the market, in my opinion, for commercial or residential.
It seems like the most convenient too. Like there's a lot of things that we talked about before. Like you can't wear a Fitbit or a heart rate monitor doing jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean, or anything like that, because there's so much contact. You know,
Correct.
This is something that's a little more feasible.
I did wear it with jiu-jitsu. I don't think I could do it every single time. There were certain grips that I couldn't do that I normally do, that it was a little annoying.
It's kind of scary too, because I don't know if you've seen those videos of the wedding ring coming off during jiu-jitsu and tearing off the whole fucking finger. It's fucking terrifying.
I did wear it once because I wanted to track what a normal session was, because they have an option on the app to input it in. So you can save that period and then input that same exercise, so that instead of
wear it,
I don't have to wear it. I know it'll be off a little bit. But it'll be more accurate than if I didn't. So I just now input it in. I take my ring off. I don't wear it in the shower, but other than that, I wear it all the time.
Yeah.
It is waterproof. plan on having it a long time, they're a little pricey. If you Google discount code for them, you can get $50 off. So, pro tip. There's a sizing kit. I highly recommend it. It's extra $15, but you don't want to buy a ring that you think you know the size because it's got 3 little bulbs inside of it. If you get the wrong size, I recommend having one that fits on multiple fingers. Just have one that's a little loose on one finger, a little tight on one finger, and then average on the other finger. So you can probably get 3 fingers, be able to have it fit on. But I've only had it for about 2 weeks now, and it's changed so much. I now know real-time data about some of the things I take and how they affect my biology. It's not perfect, but it's the best I can get.
Yeah.
And it's taught me how different times of the day that I go to sleep or wake up, the latency of time that it takes for me to go to bed. It's warned me when I almost got sick.
That's cool.
It gives me little alerts like, hey, you're being a lazy fuck, get up.
That's cool.
Yeah, it gives you all that different data and information. If you're a data person and you're really interested in your sleep and your general well-being, and they have different settings where you can change it to mental focus or activity or athleticism or all those different things, and it'll change the settings and what recommendations based off of that. But yeah, it's awesome. I highly recommend this if anybody can afford it. Next one is TRT.
Okay.
Speaking of, I probably should take this. This is HCG. So my clinic, Performance Center for Men in Rancho, if you're interested. This is HCG. It helps with, how do I say this? It helps me still be able to have children if I'm taking testosterone.
I got it.
Because if you take testosterone, you're externally putting in testosterone that your body normally wouldn't produce. So your testicles say, I don't need to work anymore. This helps you. But normally it's a shot that you put in your stomach. But this one they have as a gummy bear, essentially. So,
do you know what it stands for, HCG?
I forget what it stands for, but yeah, I can't remember what it stands for. Anyways, we could look it up.
Yeah.
We'll put
fucking phones.
Yeah,
Ooh,
phones.
Wow.
I actually switched from testosterone cream recently to actual shots.
Okay, I was going to ask you about the cream.
Yeah, so the cream has a 30% absorption.
It's human chorionic gonadotropin.
Yep, that made a lot of sense.
Did those sound like 3 words or 7?
I know what it does, not how to say it. That's why it has acronyms. So testosterone cream has a 30% absorption rate. I think the gels have a little bit higher than that. They also now just came out with nasal sprays. Those are pretty crazy, and they're supposed to have as high of absorption rate as the injections. If you're going to go to this extreme, now again, blood tests, find out where your levels are at. We're talking about optimal range, not average. So I came in and I was at a 400 level. Then I was arguing with my doctor. It took about a year. And then I finally went to the Performance Center for Men, and they were like, yeah, dude, you're sitting around like 200 now. And when you start seeing your levels drop, and I'm doing so much to remove endocrine and hormone disruptors in my environment, there was something else wrong with my biology. And I started taking the cream, and within 2 weeks, I was a different person. Energy levels were up, sex drive was up, I was working out, but I was never seeing any of the benefits from it. I was meeting people who were doing the exact same stuff I did, eating worse than I was, and producing way better results. And I was like, I was only 30 when I first started discovering these problems, and I knew there was an issue, but the doctors wouldn't listen because I was with the normal range, right? Normal and optimal are not the same thing.
Yeah.
So I finally got on this, and it was a life changer. So if you feel sluggish, or you want to take a nap during the middle of the day, or you're not building muscle mass, or you're gaining weight, even hair loss in some extreme situations, talk to a doctor, and you have to get a prescription for this. For me, the cream and the HCG cost about $500-ish for every 3 months. So it's expensive-ish, but it will change you if you have lower hormone. If you're in your 30s, you should not be lower than 550-ish, as far as my research says. And that's just average. But for me, I'm probably hovering around 7 now. And I feel awesome. But I started the injections with B12 shots included with it. So it's awesome.
Very nice. What about this? You've told me about this a few times, and for whatever reason, it never sticks. The DHEA.
Oh yeah. So DHEA, if you're starting to see problems, don't go straight to testosterone. Try DHEA. You have to be careful with adrenal fatigue with these. Your adrenal glands can get overstimulated, but it will. DHEA, if you take it, and I highly recommend no more than 10 milligrams, it can really help your testosterone. It's great for athletes. I think it would be a benefit for you if you'd like. Super legal. You can get it at any grocery store pretty much. But it'll help your testosterone. It pretty much does everything that testosterone does, just on a much smaller level. Mild level. You have to be careful not to take it too much, because again, you gotta watch your adrenal fatigue. So if you start feeling more tired after taking it, ease up.
Okay.
So, but it's good stuff.
All right.
And then for hormones, D vitamin. D vitamin's a good one.
Okay.
Oh,
well,
one last thing. If you're taking testosterone, you should take aspirin. It thins out your blood a little bit. Because it can thicken your blood up. So.
Always something.
Oh, you want to talk about alcohol stuff?
Yeah. Most of our listeners like to drink.
Are you getting tired of all this?
No.
Okay. So if you like to drink like I do, which is also not a biohacker thing, biohackers generally do not like to drink as much. There are exceptions, but so molybdenum it's another nice hack from Aubrey Marcus. It's a pretty rare mineral to find in most foods. Beans have it, tomatoes have it, a few other things, and those are the reason why you crave it.
Mexican food, right?
Yeah, why you crave Mexican food or pizza when you're because your body's trying to tell you, I'm low on molybdenum. So this really helps. I usually take it the day, as I fall asleep, so it's in my system. And
that's responsible drinking. That is.
Is it?
That's something I strive to be like.
Is all my research to find out different things so I can drink more without the negative benefits?
Whenever I hear about people caring for themselves before they go to sleep, like from drinking for the next day, I'm always like, wow, what's that like? Like you remembered going to sleep? I'm like, that's a really adult thing you did. You hydrated before you went to sleep? Wow. I just like the next morning I wake up, I'm like, what? Help me. What do I, give me something, yeah.
Charcoal also helps pass the alcohol through your system, so that's good. Milk thistle works really good too, but I've got an extra hack for milk thistle. That's really good. Now this I just discovered. So Cheers Health.
I think you told me about this. Okay.
This stuff is wonderful. So they have vitamin C, E, B1, B6, B12, sodium, potassium, vine tea, a bunch of other things I can't pronounce, milk thistle, prickly pear, ginger, and GABA. GABA is probably the heavy hitter in here. So you take this before you go to bed, and like the night we went out for your birthday, I was pretty drunk.
Yeah.
Walk home, and I took 3 of these, and I was perfect the next day.
Really?
Perfect. And I was like, oh, you guys have come up on something.
Yeah.
So
okay.
if you like to drink, they have just before you go to bed, and then after, and then general health. I don't know if you need all of them. I haven't tried all of them, but this one is remarkable. If you like to drink and you're concerned about, your well-being after drinking, of all of the drinking stuff, I cannot recommend this more.
Okay.
$30, I think, for this, and it's got 12 servings, so a little expensive, but worth it.
Yeah. That could last you for a couple weekends, though.
Yeah. And then devices. So this is Hannah's, actually. This is a blue light. I'll turn it on so you guys can see. It looks like headphones, like an old Zune. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like an old Zune. But these actually work really well for if it's a kind of a hazy day out. You're not going to get all the vitamin D you need. If you deal with seasonal depression, this device is awesome. You can get the big boxy blue lights that push blue light at you, but you have to be stationary. This goes right into your ears. You just feel like you're like, oh wait, why am I being recharged?
Yeah.
It's super weird feeling. You've done it.
Yeah, I remember you give. It's funny that you said that about the seasonal depression, because it's something that I completely forgot about because of the season we just have been in. But I know that I get a little during the winter, and I'm probably going to be thinking about that again coming up soon here.
I think it's $150 for this. We don't use it all year round. It's usually only when it's cloudy out. But this, if you deal with seasonal depression, it could not be a better device to have. This is an EMF blocker. So we try to shut down all waves and radio waves, Wi-Fi waves. These two devices work really well together. This is a timer that shuts off our Wi-Fi. And then we just plug everything in, and it shuts everything off and then turns back on just before we wake up. You don't need it. You don't need Wi-Fi when you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Plus, what's the problem everybody has with Wi-Fi? Oh, turn it on and off again. Well, this solves that problem right after that.
Yeah.
So extra little stuff. It may seem a little woo-woo to try to stop your wavelengths, but we shut off all external light because that's what melanin needs to develop, is complete blackness. That's when melanin is developed in our bodies. And the wavelengths just are extra disruptors that you just don't need when you're sleeping. And I've tried both on and off with these, with seeing the ring, and there is a difference. There's an absolute difference with those on and off. So they're cheap. They're like $30-$40 each, I think. I have to check pricing on those, but it's pretty low.
This is it's a lot of stuff.
Okay, so let's be clear about this. I would say probably about 10% of this is used on a daily basis. One of the biggest things, if you really want to optimize your health, you just want to get into it, and you don't want to do all this nonsense. This raw greens by Nutriello. It's raw greens. It's a multi-green drink. You can just look at all the stuff it has in the back.
Yeah.
It helps for liver. It's got mushrooms in it. And it's got a berry flavor to it. I'm not a super big fan of it. I dilute it really throughout this whole thing, but it's $30. It's got ashwagandha root in it, which helps with energy, B vitamins. It literally is, if I'm ever like, I'm missing something in my body, but I don't know what it is, I take that.
This is probably like what people are looking for when they get a multivitamin. They're probably looking for
something like that. Yeah. Multivitamins are BS. There's just too much chemicals in them, and they don't absorb very well. This is diluted in water, so your body absorbs it really well. Every person who's ever tried it, after they were kind of like scoffing at it, were like, I bought it. I'm never going back.
No, it's very cool.
So
I've had this before, so you've given it to me.
Yeah. Good for hangovers too.
Bring it. Let's put those all into a section.
And then last, if you want to do some more reading, we talked about Aubrey Marcus's book.
Yeah.
That was a good one. The 4-Hour Body by Tim Ferriss. It's like a fucking Bible, but not everything in here is useful to you, but there's a lot in here that's good. Dave Asprey just did a new one called Game Changers. That one's an awesome book.
Just hand them over so you don't have as much in your
and then one, if you're interested in like more sleep hacking, Lucid Dreaming is a good book. It just teaches you how to do lucid dreaming.
That's cool.
You know, there's a lot of things that have come up through science and technology and philosophy and things like that for people who lucid dream. You know, the guy who developed the space station was having a giant problem trying to solve the space station, and he discovered lucid dreaming, and that's taught in his subconscious. He was able to reconstruct it and refigure it and be able to develop the space station. And then a lot of this, the hormone stuff I talked about, were for guys. This is a book that Hannah highly recommends. It's The Hormone Secret, but it's specifically geared towards women and women in menopause. But there is so much good information about this for women in general, and things that you should just be like kind of precautions and look forward. In our society, there's just so many things that disrupt our hormones.
Yeah. And that's really important, right? To really, like you said earlier about different biology, and it's really important to understand the different biology between men and women. Like a lot of things work way differently, and especially for, I don't know if anything is the same for men as it is for women, but like things are cyclical. And I know with certain times of the month for a woman, certain things are more beneficial for their body. They're more depleted in certain things. So that's for, as soon as I found all that stuff out, like that's why I was like really big. I told my wife, I was like, this, like, you can really optimize each month by really learning about this stuff.
Absolutely. Hannah's on progesterone right now, and it's a complete, again, game changer, right? Like it's completely changed her outlook on life, her biology, her health, her mental state, everything. And it's remarkable. It's something you can technically get over counter, I think. Women's stuff is a little cheaper than men's stuff in some regards and more expensive in others.
All their clothes are cheaper too. What's up with that?
Yeah, but their blood tests, her blood tests are like $250. Mine's like $50.
Oh, wow.
Explain in full panel. Explain that.
Wow. Well, it makes sense.
Does it?
There's more things you got to test for.
Not really.
No?
No.
Like there's like a lot of other things.
Most of the hormones that are in women are in us. They're just different levels.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a women's system is a lot more complex than a man's system. I feel.
I know. Well, one thing I discovered,
don't know, but I just feel
after doing TRT, the thing I discovered was men actually have a cycle too. We have both men and women have a 1 month and a 3 month cycle, and you'll find that when you take testosterone, to complete a full cycle of your hormones takes 3 months. So you really won't see the full end benefits of what you're doing till the end of 3 months. And it's weird that we just, it's so subtle. Yeah, subtle. Yeah. So subtle to men that we don't recognize it.
Yeah.
But we go through a cycle as well. We just, we don't recognize our hormones.
Yeah, it stays more close to that middle level. It's not as up and down.
Yeah.
Well,
that's pretty much everything.
Yeah.
But there's more things of just avoiding plastics in the home, because we have a lot of, like, even your deodorant has aluminum in it, right? Most do, and that's most heavy metals are hormone disruptors. So I have a deodorant that I really like that, it's naturally fresh magnesium chloride. It actually smells really good.
Yeah.
But just removing those has really helped.
Oh, it actually doesn't smell too bad.
Yeah, it doesn't smell too bad,
It smells like Old Spice.
Yeah, but it's good. Yeah, so we do a lot of that kind of stuff in the house too.
So you've shown us all these things, right? And like what they do and stuff like that. But why? Like, I know it probably seems obvious to you, but why would somebody want to be interested in doing these types of things?
I think if you ever wonder why you have brain fog, or you're struggling to lose weight, or you're having difficulties with your body, that it's not doing the things that you believe it can do. These are a few options among millions out there that can change that. Some things will happen immediately.
Yeah.
Some things will take months before you see the results. But they all do have an effect on our body. And I think understanding the environment and how that exposure externally and internally can affect you is interesting to me, and I like that I get to try to use analytics and research and be able to find the things that are going to most effectively and cheaply, because all these things here are the best for the lowest amount on the market. Because some of these things, like these green drinks, can go up to $150, which is obscene, and they're not that much better. This is $30, you know, and it has a full month supply versus those ones are 15 days.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, thank you. That's obscene. But
sometimes you're just paying for the prestige or something.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, seeing what a few of these have done to my biology and my ability, and where if people who knew me back in high school and then it met me now, outside of just life experiences, my biology is different, how I think is different, what I've been capable of doing, I attribute to a good percentage of these things that I've implemented into my life.
And that's the thing that I think I really want to hone in on. So my problem with these, not that I have a problem with these, but the thing that I think I have a problem with it because I know how most people's minds work and their brains. And I think it's important to note that like none of these are magic, right? None of these are going to make you skinny. No. None of these are going to make you have muscles. None of these are going to get you a fucking promotion, give you a lot of money. They're going to help you be able to do the things that you need to do to produce those results.
Correct. There was a bike coach, a cyclist coach, and they were training to go to Tour de France. And he started with anything that could give them a 10% boost or better was something to address. It was 10%. Small margin. 10% better, that seems like nothing. But they found that having dust inside their van got into the gears of the bikes and damaged their bikes. So they painted the inside of the vans all white so they could see dust and eliminate it. They brought in a surgeon to teach the cyclists how to wash their hands properly to not get sick, because there was more than a 10% performance boost.
Yeah.
When you start adding those things up, 20% better, 30% better, 40% better. Some of these will do maybe 5%. Some of them will do maybe 50% better. But I look at my supplementation of exercise, sleep, diet, all this different stuff. And some people might call me a hypochondriac, but I notice the results. And a great example, like, is someone goes out drinking and I'm just fine the next day and my liver is just perfect. And it's like, that small change is like enough for me that I'm like, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to spend the little bit more. And I started off with little tiny things, trying them, and I give a few suggestions, but if you're on a budget, but I don't know why you wouldn't give yourself that 10%.
Yeah. And it's, I guess I'm gonna be redundant, but it's just like, my biggest thing is like, you still have to do the thing. Like you could still,
you're right.
You could take testosterone, you could take steroids, you could get fat doing that if you don't do anything, right? You talked about cycling. Lance Armstrong got busted for all the shit for the EPO, right?
True.
The way the EPO works is that you still have to be in shape to get your blood oxygenated enough so that they can reintroduce that to your body. But you still have to, like, what it does is it, like, for steroids, like, even like when you go into, this is a whole different thing, but like when you go into steroids, like all these guys that at the highest level that have been caught for steroids, what it doesn't make them better. It makes them be able to get better more often, right? It makes them be able to train more without being run down, without needing the rest. And you still have to put in that work. Like you can't just take a whole bottle of fucking this and turn into Arnold, you know, like you still gotta get up and do the things.
Exactly. Yeah. If you don't work out on even testosterone, it's like you said, you will get fat. Like you're just because you have it doesn't mean you're instantly going to get skinnier. You know, you still have to put in the work. You can't just eat nothing but McDonald's all day long and then you're like,
and you can't
look at me, I'm Arnold. It doesn't work like that.
And you can't just do this and be like, oh, well, that area of my life is fixed, right? Like, I don't have to worry about that anymore. You still got to worry about it, be attentive to it.
Yeah, you can take yerba mate and sit on the couch and watch TV.
Yeah.
You'll pay a lot of attention to the TV, but it's not going to do you anything.
Yeah, be like, you're not going to pull your phone. What's going on here?
Yeah, you actually have to make the willpower to go do the thing. And some of them might have subliminal effects that you may not notice that will allow you to do other things like the water stuff. That will change you and clear out your system and be more hydrated. There's not a necessity to do anything after receiving those things in your body or clearing those things out of your body, but it still will improve the quality of your life.
Yeah, and things will counteract it, like you talked about earlier about having too much coffee, right? And then you don't get enough sleep, and then the coffee isn't going to fix the fact that you didn't get any sleep. Like you've got to get the sleep. So
yeah, absolutely. So that's pretty much everything. I'm more than happy to answer more questions if anybody wants to know about that stuff, but hit me up.
Yeah, hope you guys made it.
Page.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's it.
That's it.
One thing I want to say, by the time this comes out, it will be Monday.
Yes.
But Spider-Man is back in the MCU. This is
what?
big news.
Really?
It's official. It's happening. He's back in the MCU.
How did that happen?
I haven't read into it everything. I think as far as I know, it's like one movie at a time. But it's official, so big news today.
That's good.
Big news.
Good to
Anyways.
Guys.
All right, love you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Try it all out. Well, try out what interests you. I'm sure we'll put information on this as much as we can on there. So, and yeah, he's your guy. If you guys have any questions, he's your guy.
All right.
Love you guys.